Have you ever wondered why Yom Kippur falls in October one year and September in the next? Well, it all has to do with how we calculate time. Rosh Chodesh, this is how we do it.
It's been said that the Jewish calendar is the most important book, is the most important publication in the Jewish home. It is what guides all of our Jewish activity. There are two ways in which to measure time. You can either go by the solar calendar, the movement of the sun, or by the lunar calendar, the movement of the moon in relation to Earth. The general population of the world pretty much follows the solar calendar.
If you watch where the sun is with respect to the background stars and you wait for the sun to come back to exactly that same position with respect to the stars that are out there, and you do that, you'll come up with basically a tropical year, a year associated with the seasons, a year associated with the position of the sun. And that is roughly 365 and 1/4 days. Now, they recognized this a long time ago, back in the time of the Greeks. The Julian Calendar was brought into existence to help us keep track of life, the universe, and everything, our daily lives. So the Julian Calendar said 365 days for 3 years in a row, and then on the 4th year, we will have the leap year, and that's where we got February 29.
Islam, on the other hand, follows the lunar calendar. The Jewish people, on the other hand, follow a combination of the two. The lunar calendar adjusted according to the solar calendar.
Once around the Earth for the moon is about 29 and a half days, roughly speaking. So if you go outside, you look at where the moon is with respect to the sun, and you wait for the moon to come back into exactly the same position around the Earth with respect to the sun, the answer to that question is 29 and a half days. So a lunar month is roughly 30 days. Now, of course, the snag is that way back a couple of thousand years ago, when Julius Caesar was putting the calendar together, we came up with all sorts of combinations of 30 and 31, and then a 28, just to try and fit into the 365, and then occasionally 366 days. So the lunar month really got a little messed up.
Now, since it's difficult to set a month for 29 and a half days, so we do 1 month 29, another month 30, 29, 30. Pretty much we go back and forth. In a month that has only 29 days, the 30th day, the next day, is proclaimed to be the first day, Rosh Chodesh, of the new month. A month which has 30 days, the 30th day as well as the first day of the next month are both Rosh Chodesh. Because in the time of the temple, they never knew whether the moon would be seen on the 30th day or only the next day. So they would proclaim, they would wait for the next day to be Rosh Chodesh, perhaps yes, perhaps not. In commemoration of that, we keep both days Rosh Chodesh. But the 2 days Rosh Chodesh are really the last day of the previous month, the first day of the new month. The lunar cycle is one where on the first day of the month, you can hardly see the moon at all. As it comes to the 15 days later, you can see a full moon, and then it wanes again. It gets smaller and smaller until the last day of the month, you cannot see the moon at all. So the new month, Rosh Chodesh, there is always a sliver of moon in the sky. On the 15th of the month, there is always a full moon. However, a problem does occur. The lunar calendar is approximately 354 days, and a solar calendar is 11 days longer, approximately 365 days. The difference is approximately 11 days. What do we do with these 11 days? But really, I should explain, why is it important to do something with those 11 days? In fact, Islam does nothing with those 11 days. They just follow the lunar calendar, and what happens is some of their holidays, which were in the summer one year, many years later, maybe 20, 30 years later, come out in the middle of the winter because it moves 11 days forward every year. But the Torah insists that this does not happen. The Torah tells us that the Passover holiday must be celebrated during the spring season. If we were to follow only the lunar calendar, of course, it would end up in the summer and later in the winter and so on. So in order to adjust for that, we have a leap year, which means we add another full month, a full 30-day period into every few years. The Jewish calendar follows a 19-year cycle. Some of them will be leap years, some of them will be regular years, but in the end, it all evens out. This brilliant system was formulated by a sage of the Talmud named Hillel, Rabbi Hillel, who did it all without computers. He was able to figure out a calendar, a perpetual calendar that would work forever, adjusting for all the seasons, all the Jewish holidays, that everything should fall into perfect place. In the time of the temple, special offerings were brought on Rosh Chodesh to commemorate the day. Today, we celebrate Rosh Chodesh by special prayers in the synagogue, as well as in the grace after meals, we say the Yalev v'Yavo. As well, there are some customs that people do not do sewing on Rosh Chodesh, since it's something that can be delayed for another day, so it's celebrated as a minor holiday.
My name is Esther Ben Bihi with a deed, and that's how we do Rosh Chodesh.